Hello, guys, and welcome back to another episode of It's a Man's World. And today I am in Dublin. I'm home, and the last episode that I recorded was in Dubai, and that's where majority of the episodes here have been recorded. So while I'm home, I wanted to get on a friend, also someone that I've known for years, and her story and her journey. A lot of you people and ladies that are listening will probably know. And I think it's amazing to kind of share someone's story, especially from the same area of where we started, what all about you today, really, your journey, your niche. It's quite different as well. And I think it will inspire a lot of people that are listening to know that like there is people that specialize in different areas. And the main thing for us today is to look at kind of transforming your mind, your body, but also overall it's about your habits as well. It's not just about a physical transformation as well. And I think that's something that you obviously portray a lot online, which is amazing. But today's guest is Lauren Scully. If you want to give everyone a little bit of an introduction to anyone who doesn't know you, where you're from and how we kind of met as well.
Yeah. Hey girls. Yes, and thanks so much for having me here. It's actually so funny because we literally lived around the corner from each other, like literally a few doors down, like roads down. But like it's unreal how the two of us actually have ended up in the same industry, but kind of going down two different paths. And we both have different brands, but we both help like hundreds of girls, and it's just amazing to see. And I'm all for the girls, and I'm all for supporting each other. And I know like if we ever have questions, we can reach out on Instagram, etc. And it's just nice to see you doing so well. I think it's really, really, really inspiring.
Thank you. And I think that's really important too, that we need a little bit more of that in the world, especially from Dublin, such a small place, that you can reach out to someone that's doing well, that's running a business. And that's why I love getting people on with their stories to show that it's all possible as well. But for anyone that doesn't know as well, obviously you're running your own coaching brand. Do you want to kind of go into how that all kind of came about and where it started maybe with your own journey, because that's very inspiring for people that might be in the exact same boat?
Yeah, so a little bit of background around me. So basically years ago I would have hated the gym, I would have hated PE, and I was like absolutely crap at sports in school. And my mom, she used to write me notes to make me like skip the PE. So it's actually mad how like I genuinely for years just didn't like it. And then when I went to college, I wanted to go to like Ibiza, and I would have came from a bit of like a party girl background. And obviously we wanted to look unreal in Ibiza. So I would have went down probably like the wrong road, but I'd say the road that most girls go down, and it's trying to eat like as little as possible. And like if something didn't scan into my fitness pal, I wasn't having it. Like, and I was literally trying to eat like nothing across the day. I don't know how I used to live off that, but I'd be doing mountains of steps. I'd be going to the gym, but I didn't have a clue what I was doing in the gym, like, because I didn't know what to do. So I always say to the girls, there's a massive difference between going to the gym and actually training. And like a lot of girls would go to the gym and they look around and they're like, oh, I'll hop on this is free, and then I'll do this. And you don't really get much from that. Like, it's great to be there and it's great to push yourself to get into the gym, but you're not actually getting results from that. And same goes for the classes. I feel like when you first join, you nearly think you need to be going like back-to-back classes and doing all these random things. I used to go to Westwood and I'd be in spin, and then the next minute I'd be in a body pump, and I don't know what I was doing. I was burning myself out. But yeah, that was my background in regards to the training and the nutrition. I think I was a bit lost on food for years, and I kind of followed every single trend that came out, and I was constantly on a diet. So I did a marketing degree in college, and I would go to college throughout the winter, and obviously I would gain back some weight because you're not going to be as motivated. We're in Ireland, so I was studying loads, and I was working in restaurants. So like my lifestyle was really hard to actually get the figure that I wanted to do. So my way of trying to get that figure was like the fastest approach on the way up to summer. So I would do it literally 2 or 3 months before I would go away. I'd try and shift the weight again, and I'd put myself on like an extreme diet. That all happened, and then COVID happens. And I always had a grand body going to IB, to put it that way. Like, it did work, but I always regained the weight, and I never actually changed my lifestyle and my habits. And I think that's why, because I was literally just starving myself to go to Ibiza or go away on holidays, and I was coming back and I was doing the same thing I do all the time, and that's why I was regaining weight. And I feel like that's why so many girls think that diets don't work, and it's literally down to because they never change their habits. They're just dieting. But then COVID hit, and I was managing a restaurant at the time, but I was doing a PT course before COVID came, because I kind of wanted to like get a bit more knowledge. As I said, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. So I wanted to actually understand what I was doing. So I started doing a PT course, and I got a coach, etc. Lockdown came, and lockdown was probably a good and a bad thing for me. I think I was trying to do the home workouts with people. Obviously, Ciara was much better. Ciara actually had experience, and I feel like there was people on your lives. I don't think there was many people on mine. I think there was like
hundreds on mine.
Yeah, I think I must have had about 5 people, but I didn't see what other people seen back then, and I'm not surprised there wasn't anybody on mine, because I was jumping around my house like a mad thing, and I was probably like really stick thin, and I didn't have a muscle to my name, and I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I really didn't know what I was doing. And even the food I used to post back then, Ciara, I don't know what I was doing. I was like literally shown as little as possible. And anybody who was following my story back then must have been looking going, I don't want to do what she's doing. And they probably didn't want to look like that either. Do you know what I mean? So post COVID, I moved to Dubai, and that was probably like the biggest thing for me. Like, that was a big change. I lived in a house with like girls who, one of the girls was a coach as well. And I think just seeing what she ate, I was like, oh my God, I can eat that. And then seeing the training that she did, it kind of just like opened my eyes up. As long, like, I was doing the PT course as well, so that helped too. And then obviously by seeing the inspiration from people in the gyms in Dubai, I worked for a gym in Dubai, and the boys in the gym were like, you need to eat more, And I feel like it was just like a learning curve by going to Dubai and seeing what everybody else is doing. I was like, okay, whatever I was doing definitely wasn't the right way forward. So that's just the background, and then we're here.
It's crazy, honestly, because it's mad when you look back, because obviously people know, like, you're very honest and open about everything that you share. There's no hidden secrets, to be honest. I know with you, like, you don't mind me touching on different things as well. And I think it's everyone learns along the way, and it's these stories here that someone's listening right now that's going to say, I'm actually in that position now. I'm afraid to gain weight. Sure, I was getting my eyebrows and my lashes done the other day, and the girls were like, what? Do you eat all of that? Like, what would you eat all day? And like, they were so shocked that like you can feel your body. And there's so much online at the minute that it's like, who do you follow? What pages do you follow? I can't put cooking recipes up because I'm absolutely brutal. Like, if you actually seen what I cook, you'd say no. Like, I'm not even coaching with her. It's that bad.
But Ciara, that's like me if I'm trying to count somebody into a workout. Even when I go to a CrossFit class, I'm looking at like, if I sit down and I program my things to my clients, I'm totally fine if I program the workouts.
Right.
But if I'm put on the spot and I need to like count in something or read, so I don't know, my head just goes the other way.
Crazy.
Not very good at that.
I think that comes with me with the dancing, because obviously you have to go with the beat and stuff. But with like the workouts, and I remember like a couple of years ago when we were in the lockdowns, or I remember seeing you on Instagram, and I was like, she's getting skinnier and skinnier and skinnier, and I was like, I wonder, like, is that like, was that something that you could see in your head, or did you like, because I know some people do, like, especially even from me on prep, when people are like, you look amazing, you're doing great, you like that, you're like, I feel great, like you're getting that kind of instant gratification off someone and that approval straight away. Is that why you felt like to keep going, or did you have the fear of going backwards, or what was it like?
I think a big part of my story that I missed was like, when I was younger, I was really overweight, like, I suffered with like my weight for years, and I also had a stutter. You probably heard me at the start of the podcast, but I used to have like a really bad stutter, and I genuinely could not speak, and I was like, overweight as well. And I feel like that's always going to be there in the back of my head. And when I wanted to be a PT, I thought I had to be like the leanest.
Skinniest.
But I could not see how lean I was. Like, I couldn't see that. Like, I genuinely couldn't. I remember my mum and my dad saying, "Are you okay?" And people around me were asking. The guy who was teaching my PT course was like, "Is everything okay, Lauren? You're taking this a bit serious now." Like, and I just didn't see what anybody else saw. Like, I genuinely didn't, until I went to Dubai and when I lived with the girls and I looked at what everybody else looked like and I was like, oh, okay. Like, back then I would have had this picture of a girl with a 6-pack, right, on my phone as a screensaver with her weight as 45 kg. I hadn't got a clue that she was 45 kg. I don't know where I come up with that from. It was just like a random picture from the internet. And I feel like that's where some girls go wrong too. They look at other girls on the internet and they see 1 second from a photo shoot or something and they think, oh yeah, I want to look like that. And they don't understand what is actually behind that. And no matter how much weight I would have lost at that stage, I would never have got her physique because I didn't have any muscle.
Yeah.
And I think I was really confused. So I kept like digging deeper and deeper and
deeper.
You
were looking for those apps.
Looking for that. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? Like, because I wasn't, I was doing everything by the book in terms of the nutrition, in terms of like what I thought was right at the time with the training, and I could not understand it. So I think it was like definitely body dysmorphia, 100%.
Yeah, and that's honest of you too to say that, but I think that was important for people to know that you came from someone that was very overweight. So there is a fear of like gaining again, or it's like, I feel great now, why would I want to go back to that? If I can suffer now and just keep going with the food being so low, I can do it again. And it's like, did you lose your cycle at any stage or anything like that? Or
yeah, and if I'm being fully transparent, my cycle since back then has never ever been on track again properly. And I've got all my tests done and it's never ever ever gone back to that way. Like, it's actually sad because I don't think I cared about that back then. And now I'm 29. I'm like, okay, is this possible? And I was like, maybe I should just check.
Yeah.
But I'm so clued up on all of that now. And like, even if we go back there, so obviously I lost my cycle. I gained roughly around like 12 kg in Dubai, but I did it like properly, so I didn't look overweight. And to be honest, I just stopped weighing myself to do that. Never ever stood on the scales. I think when I realised I had gained that was when I was going skiing in the mall, and you have to weigh yourself. They were asking about your weight, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm that size. And I was a bit taken back, and I feel like if I had watched the scales throughout that journey, it probably would have triggered me. But and I would say that there's still times now when I'm still afraid of getting back to that size. And even when I speak to my own girls, sometimes I feel like when you're bullied for so long and when you've been that big before, it is really, really hard to get past it. And I don't think that those thoughts ever fully go away. I think you can still kind of look at yourself from time to time and think, do you know what I mean?
Like this, yeah. But I think most of this has come from fuel, like where you're at the minute. You use it as fuel because you're like, I'm going to show people how to eat correctly. If anyone doesn't know, if you haven't seen Lauren's Instagram, she posts a lot of like recipes and little ideas on like how to not binge, and binging and emotional eating is a big thing. And that's something that I noticed with even my clients, or even anyone that's coming out of a prep, of these cycles where they starve themselves so much that when you get a glimpse of something, you just can't stop. And also a lot of shame comes with that. And was that something that you dealt with? Like, were you doing anything? Like, I know I had girls that were like, Ciara, like when I'm having a bad day, like I am taking that little biscuit and then I'm taking the piss and I'm eating the whole thing, and then I'm feeling sorry for myself and saying, well, fuck it, it's at the end of the evening, I'm just going to keep going and start fresh tomorrow. But they can't start fresh tomorrow because they're so tired, they're craving more sugar, salt, their bodies are all over the place. Well, did you have that like with the emotional side of things, or was it more binging and hiding stuff? Or like, not saying you did, but is that something that you struggle with because you obviously deal with that with your own clients and online?
The biggest thing for me was definitely not down to emotions. I think it was down to restricting for my own personal binge. And it was more so that like I genuinely thought that I couldn't eat like normal food. So like not even like binging on like chocolates and stuff. It was binging on anything. It was more so like if I had a sandwich, I would feel bad. If I had anything that wasn't on my plan before, I would nearly think that I was doing something wrong. So like at the start, before I went to like Dubai, I definitely suffered with binging. And it was more so like I was still trying. So I wanted to get out of that plan, right? I wanted to get out of being being
So
so
strict.
lean and
Yeah.
so strict. But every time I gave myself a meal that, let's say,
couldn't
was
stop.
off plan, I couldn't stop. And I would eat to the point where I was like getting sick because I was like, well, I'm after eating the calories now. I might as well get rid of the calories and take that fat and then starting again. And can I just say that when people suffer with binging like that, nobody knows. You don't have to be overweight to suffer with binging. Like, nobody knew that. And I feel like back then, I never said that to anybody until like 2 years or something, until I actually started speaking about it. And even like, I think it was like last year, I was still kind of a bit like, I feel like my page is a fat loss page, and like I don't want to confuse the two. But the two do kind of go hand in hand. And sometimes it is the message on just an Instagram page is very hard to get across to people, because if somebody wants to achieve fat loss, sometimes if they suffer with binge, and they need to work on their relationship with food first, and they need to get away from the goal of being fat loss, and the goal is literally to improve their mindset first. And that can be done in just a phase first for a couple of months until they get over that and they move away from the scales, etc., and then they go into that. And I struggle still sometimes to get clients to get away from that. So I'm like, please trust the process, please.
Yeah.
I promise you this works.
Yeah.
And if they don't, what's going to happen is they will achieve fat loss, and they'll get to the number they want to be on the scales, or they'll get to their ideal physique, but they'll probably go back to square one because they still haven't addressed the problem. They're just masking the issue again and again and again. And I feel like that's what I did for years.
Yeah, for sure. And this is so important for people. Stop looking for a quick fix. Stop looking for instant result overnight. Stop working towards a holiday and make it a lifestyle. And everyone wants a result, yeah. And then they're like, am I willing to kind of wait that long? No, not really. If you were to say to someone, listen, we're going to take things slow. We're going to make sure that like all your health markers are in place. You're able to control yourself. We're looking at a lifestyle change. You're able to have a meal out. They're like, no, I don't want that. I want to go hardcore. No, cut everything out. And I'm like, why are you cutting everything out though? Because it instantly gets added back in and your body blows up. And even this morning for me, like this is actually a realization for me that I actually, even as a coach, like I am very, very in control of my thoughts. I always have been. I like to be in control of my head. I like to be in control of a lot of things in my life. That's just my personality. I'm an Aries. What star sign are you?
Aquarius.
Are you water?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a fire sign. So like I'm always like, go. I'm always like, need things not to be perfect. But talking about binging and even emotional eating, after my prep, I was like, I can enjoy something. And I remember Jade saying to me on the way home on the Monday, it was Monday. And for me, Monday is like the start of my week. Monday is a kickstart with good energy with the team. I lead by example, and I don't like to portray what I don't do. And what I do is I eat really well and balance, and I do enjoy a coffee and time out with my family and my friends, but I do like to live a regimented life because that's what gets me to my goals. So for me, on Monday after my prep, I remember we were sitting having breakfast out, and I was looking at the menu and I knew straight away, like I've never had problems with food, ever. I've never sat around, touch wood, like binging or anything like that. It's just never been an emotional thing for me. And I remember looking at the menu being like, I can't get anything in this. I wonder how much the avocado's gone away. And then I sat back and I was like, everyone here is sitting and they're ordering food. We're all excited. And I'm looking to say, I wonder how many calories are in that. And I literally was so close to taking out my calculator, adding up to see what it was. And then I was like, well, I just go back with an Americano, like there's 100 and something calories of milk. And I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is day one after your prep. This is bad. So afterwards, there was a place called Yum Cakes. And because I was after eating so much the night before, I was like, I'm not going to Yum Cakes. And we were walking and they were like, are we not going to Yum Cakes? Like they were buzzing like, and I was like, not on a Monday, like no. And Jade was like, here, hang on a minute. She was like, you're after being dieting for 16 weeks. What do you mean? Like, why are you acting like? She knew straight away that I was being paranoid. I was starting to overthink. And I think there's a guilty conscience and even that feeling in the back of your head, that little voice when it comes to the weekends. This is why everyone panics, because they're like, the weekends, I can't eat off plan. Yes, you can. Why does it have to be a set plan all the time if you know how to calorie count, macro count, and also be smart with what you're fueling your body with highly nutritious foods? It's not a problem to do that. And I think if you register that straight away, you do have to be conscious and I think be vocal about it. I started writing down and I was like, no, I've been, like you say, 80-20.
Yeah.
Life isn't about perfection. You know, it's not, this isn't meant to be a perfect day. And if it's not a perfect day, forget about it, go to the evenings and just go into a crazy cycle of foods. It's like, I do think, have you ever tried it with journaling and writing a few things down of like how I felt? Yeah, like why are you going to that? Why do you do that? I always notice put something else in reverse there. And if it's not food, it's boredom probably. So I'm actually going to go for a walk. You come back and you're like, I want something really good now. I feel great.
Yeah. I'll always say that to the girls. I said, change the environment, like switch it up a bit, journal or pair their food. So like if you want, let's say, a chocolate bar and it's a Saturday night, can you pair that with something that is nutritious, like some yogurts or berries?
Yeah.
Because if you sit down with the chocolate bar, you're probably going to want more chocolate. Whereas if you sit down and you have like a little snack plate or your yogurt bowl or whatever it is, you're going to feel more satisfied with that. And honestly, I have so many girls that's been messaging me now being like, I'm addicted to the yogurt bowl, and they're making them for their kids and everything. And it's just a habit. It is like most of the time, your food is just habits.
Yeah.
Like that happens all the time. I have so many girls that keep saying, oh, it's the weekend, but they separate the weekend days from the weekdays. It's just mad. It's like whatever happens, Friday comes and the switches and everything has gone out the window. And it should be your habits every single day. And I'm not really a massive one who calls it like a cheat meal. I think it depends on the person, right? For somebody who doesn't suffer with their food and they want to call it an off-plan meal, a cheat meal, or whatever they want to call it, that's fine. But I find sometimes if you tell somebody that suffers with binging to have a cheat meal at the weekends, they're looking for the highest thing on the menu, the thing with the most amount of calories, and they physically can't stop. Then they're going home, they're having this. That's not healthy. Whereas if you just tell them, right, you're going to a restaurant with your family, amazing. Why don't you enjoy the time with your family at the restaurant and stop letting the food consume you? And that's very easy for me to say like that, because I know for some people that's extremely hard to do. But what I say is when they look at the menu, try their best just to pick what they want to have. Don't pick the worst thing on the menu. Don't pick the best thing on the menu, and slow down and be a little bit like mindful with their food. Like how many times have you had food and you're distracted? If you're distracted when you're eating, like that's so hard for people to overcome binging. For example, we had a call last night and we do like a group call on binging every second week, and it's like a discussion. It's not recorded or anything like that. It's for the girls to like talk about their problems within the week. And one thing that came up was watching TV on the weekends and binging. And I was saying that is so common, because when you sit down with the food, you're totally distracted and you're go, and your hand just keeps going into the bag and you're like mindlessly eating. And what I would be saying there is either change the habit for a while, like maybe don't watch a TV, or can you watch like a movie in bed and get all snug and brush your teeth beforehand and have your snack before you go into the room. Like there's loads of ways around that, or make yourself a snack plate like what I just said a minute ago. But it's more so you need to identify like what are the habits that you're doing and try to like make some obstacles between the habits, do you know, that way. And it can definitely help, because definitely I even said to my dad, like my dad obviously doesn't suffer with binging, but if I give him a box of Pringles, he's eating the whole box of Pringles. Like some foods are just made to make you want to eat more and more and more. So don't challenge yourself like that. You will lose. Yeah, it's just silly.
Yeah, I think as well, once that hunger hormone kicks off, it's telling you want more. So your brain doesn't know any different. You can't control the brain, but if you can control your thoughts and how the brain actually thinks and how it perceives everything, watch everything else change. But another thing there that just came to my mind for anyone that's listening, you cannot eat the same food as your partner. Okay? You cannot do it. If you're eating every hour on the hour, big meals with someone that's bulking, that's on nearly 3,500-4,000 calories, you will gain weight. Do not eat just because that your partner's eating. And also, if you're struggling with your weight and your partner doesn't, which is a big thing, some people are like, oh, my partner is so skinny and like, I just can't lose the weight. Look at what you're eating and tell them as well, like, I'm really trying here. Ask for support, ask for help, and just say, can you please try and not buy that in the house anymore? Or could we buy the smaller packets? Because if they're there, you're going to eat them. And then also you have a lot of judgment where it's like, why are you not eating that anymore? You want to be careful, you're losing too much weight. And it's
Can
like,
I touch on that about the partner as well for a minute? Because this is one thing that I notice from girls as well that do suffer with binging, is their boyfriends or whoever they live with doesn't understand. It's mostly the male figure doesn't understand. And that's because women are so in touch with their emotion, right? And when women suffer with their emotions or their hormones, around their time in a month, they might crave extra foods, right? And sometimes that can be a trigger for binging, right? And when you say that to your husband or your boyfriend or whatever, he might not understand because he's probably never had that issue before, and he's looking at you thinking, you just had a little bit more
You're
chocolate,
weak.
you're grand, you're all right. Or he might even go to the shop and buy you your chocolate on your time in a month and buy all this extra food on your time in a month without even knowing that you have a problem. So girls, don't like just think that your fella knows what's going on. Actually just speak to your fella and explain to him like, okay, right, I love a bit of chocolate and I'm okay to have like the one bar, but you buy me a full-on munch
It's gonna kill me off.
It's killing me off, and I don't want to eat that. And just like express that and try to make them understand how you feel after you eat that food, because I feel like boys or men in general, not everybody, but like some men just don't understand that. It's just they don't know what's going on through your head. So instead of you getting frustrated that they don't understand, actually just try and explain it to them, and then they will.
Yeah.
But that's one thing that always comes up. They're like, oh, he keeps buying me this or he keeps buying me that. My mum does that to me all the time. So I was like, Lauren, it's only one day, Ciara. You probably get it when you come home. Your
My
mum probably
mum's
used
the
the whole
opposite.
fridge.
She hides everything. She was like, no dark chocolate. I was like, all right, there's no parties going on here. Everyone was like, did your mum get you cakes and all? She's like, why would I be getting you cakes? I'm like, all right, like there's an apple in the fridge, so not that bad in my house. But I know from chatting to someone that was in a severe dieting phase, that he told me that the minute his partner left the house and closed the door, got into the car and drove out of the garden, he rang Domino's Pizza straight away and was like, get it, like I need it. Ran down to the shop, got himself a big huge munch, sat upstairs and ate the whole thing because he knew she wasn't coming back and that he could do it in his own time. And he said that he was looking at his watch nearly like an addiction, counting down the timer when everyone was leaving, and then ended up getting sick, everything back up to do the same thing again. And his partner found out and he was so embarrassed. So please, like, your partner is supportive, your family are there to listen. And I think it's so important to be communicate with your coach as well. Let them know, this is what I'm dealing with. Why are you emotionally binging? All right, well, one of my girls said something's going on in work or in the placement, and I was like, okay, let's write about it. She was like, yeah. I'm like, what do you normally do when you have those feelings? She's like, I literally go straight to the fridge. I'm like, well, why don't you go for a walk instead? So the minute that starts to happen, she's like, Ciara's going for the walk, clears my head, I get myself a nice sugar-free drink or some water, feel good, and I come back and I go back into my meals. And always remember, you can pick it up after the next meal. Don't, because you have a sugary breakfast or you're going out for a meal with your friends, win the next meal. Literally, like, take it day by day. I always say take it hour by hour. It's not about what happened 2 hours ago, because you can't replace that, and getting sick it back up is not going to help. But you can plan and be strategic about your next meal and how you finish out the day every day.
And if someone is listening to this and you're suffering with binging, try not to think of the effects from like aesthetic point of views as well, because I've had, from binging for years, I've had a lot of gut issues, and I've had 3 colonoscopies, and I have IBS now, and I honestly do think that a lot of that was me destroying my own gut, because I never had any of those issues before any of this happened. And a lot of the girls that I coach that suffer with binging have gut issues, and like the two come hand in hand. And you might think, oh, okay, you're starving yourself or restricting and binging because you're going away on the holidays, but you don't know what you're actually doing to your insides. Even if you look unreal for your holiday on the outside, you don't know what you're doing on the inside. So always pay attention to that. The last time I was in hospital for my colonoscopy, I got scared because there was a woman next to me with a bag, and I was just thinking, Lauren, do you know what I mean? That's too much. And I don't think we look at that, because nobody really talks about like what's actually going on in the insides. We're all talking about our emotions and how the binging makes you feel. And I know it makes you feel horrible and it makes you feel sluggish, and the next day you probably don't want to go to work or you don't want to speak to people. But you have to understand what it's actually doing to the inside of your body. Not only do you look bloated and your digestion is off in terms of going to the toilet, but it's destroying your inside. So just be really, really careful about that, not to be real negative. But I feel like people don't think about that. They just keep looking at how they look on the outside.
Yeah, and this is why I always say to people, when people ask, how much is coaching? I'm like, well, how much are you willing to invest into your health? How do you feel right now? Shit, I'm tired, I'm sluggish, I hate having sex with my partner, I hate how I look. Okay, right, well, if you're feeling like that, how much would you pay? I'd pay €1 million. So why are you asking me what the price is? And they're like, oh God, I didn't put it into perspective. So if I could say to you in 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 16 weeks down the line, you're going to feel more confident. You're going to walk past your partner. You're going to walk past the mirror in whatever you're feeling comfortable in. You're not going to hide. You're going to feel amazing. You've got self-control and you can train and you're healthier and energetic overall. How much would you pay? They say I pay it 10 times over. So when people come to me, and especially my DMs, and they want to know how much is it, of course people are curious because they may have a budget or they want to know how much it is in general. But always look at it. If your doctor said to you right now, you've got cancer, and if you don't lose weight in the next 7 weeks, you're going to die. And that's very severe to say. But the minute people get a scare, they jump. They're like, I'll do anything. Yeah. And I'm like, so why did it have to take to push you right over the edge to actually take action and to look after yourself? And that's why I genuinely do believe, practice what you preach. And I think, yes, balance and the 80-20, I love that approach, and life is for living, but be smart and be kind to a body that's holding you up and bringing you through every day. Why would you actually abuse it like that with food and things that make you feel so shit? I don't get it. So I just think be smart with the thought process and say, if I was to get a scare right now, would I do it? Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
You know, that's a big thing. When we come back to a few pointers here with, like, obviously the party scene, and we all went through a phase of like going out and having drinks and like going on holidays and stuff like that as well. Obviously the party scene and traveling all was a big thing for you. I remember when years ago after the lockdowns, I was like, geez, she's living up in Dubai. She's here, she's there. They never stop. How does she keep going? Like, how did that all kind of come to a close? Because that has kind of closed off a little bit for you. And how did you change your life? Was it the PT course, or like people struggle at the minute because they're like, what else would you do at the weekends? Where do you go? Was it more trying to find someone to love nearly and be in a relationship with, or was it more just that you wanted to go wild and lose yourself?
So I think I've always been a bit different since when I was younger. Like my mum and my dad are like the complete opposites, and like my mom's a mad thing. Like anybody knows my mum, she's just wild, and my dad's more like businessman kind of thing. And my mum sent me to like the normal local school. My dad took me out and sent me to a boarding school. Some things that people don't know. Then I kind of rebelled, and then we met in the middle, and I went to a private school. Then I went to college because I was told I had to go to college. So I did a marketing degree in college, and I always like was really bored. Like I can like absorb the information, and I was like, right, I get this now. So I'd go in, go out, and I'd learn it all. And like I did well in my marketing degree. When I left, my dad was like, are you going to apply for all these graduate programs? I was like, no, I'm going to Ibiza. And he was like, what? I was like, I'm going to Ibiza and then I'm going to Dubai. And he was like, Lauren, like, where are you seeing this? I was like, Instagram. So I think my head was just away with the fairies, but it wasn't in a way, because when I say I'm going to do something, I did do that. And I had a ball. I was in Ibiza, I had a great time. And then I went to Dubai. But I feel like that's so much fun when you're young and when you don't have any purpose, I'd say, or responsibilities. Like it is
or
fun or drive. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So that was great.
Yeah.
But then there becomes a time when you feel a little bit lost, and you're like, the summers and the seasons ends, and you're always chasing seasons. And I was like, right, where will I go now? And I was looking up going and doing like ski ones and like all these different things. And I was like, right, we'll go here, we'll go there. And I always felt a little bit lost back then, because I was like, I actually don't know what I want to do. And obviously, because my mum and dad were never together, and there's loads of history there with like my dad and partners, I always felt like I didn't know where I lived as well. So like my house wasn't the best that I wanted to live in. So I feel like I was always trying to escape that. And then with the coaching, I don't know, I just love helping girls. Like I say girls all the time, but I genuinely like talk to my girls 24/7, like whether they're my clients or people online. And people talk about having a job or not having a job. My life's just blended. I wouldn't even separate the two. I don't know what it means not to work. And now I feel like I found my purpose. And like alcohol, I'm not saying I'm never going to drink again. Like I haven't drank since December, like 1st of December or something, but not saying I'm never going to drink again. But at the moment there isn't a time for it. Like I don't have time for it. It doesn't serve me any purpose. I don't see the point. Like I have too much going on. I have too many things to be like excited for, that I just don't want to do that. And it also really affects how I feel when I drink. So like back then, years ago, if I was drinking, it would always kind of turn into binging the next day. And I always say that to clients. And like, even though I don't binge now, I feel like the next day I feel really low still, and I feel like my food is off. I don't get my steps in. Like I just feel like crap, to be honest. And it stays like that for a couple of days, and you nearly beat yourself up. And I feel like I'm promoting this healthy image and blah blah blah, and then I'm going out on a mad one, because I would be on a mad one. I talk to everybody. I remember one time, and I'll give you the laugh, we went to Ocean Beach. We ended up on a cruise ship going around everywhere, and my mom said, "Where are you going?" I said, "This is grand." Like, care, so like... I feel like I would end up talking to somebody, and the next one I'd be in Africa or something. Do you know what I mean? So I don't have a switch off button there. So I feel like now I'm nice and calm, and for me, if I want to do something fun, it'd be more so like a high rocks or going for a run, or like doing a class or a competition or something like that. And I feel like when you find something else to do on the weekends, like whatever that is, you don't have to go to the gym. It can be like arts and crafts. It can be yoga. You could be building a business on the weekend. If you find your purpose and you have a distraction, then drinking will just be like, what? Like,
it's a hinder to everything.
It's just there's no point. If you look at how many days that you were being sluggish, like anytime my business is thriving is when I'm not drinking.
Yeah.
Or when I'm not going out. And I'm not saying never going to drink again. I know it's nice to have a cocktail on holidays or something like that, or like a glass of wine with dinner. But at the moment, I'm grand. Like, I actually feel grand without it. I don't really feel like I even want to. Like, if I wanted to go on a night out, I could. I don't have any kids.
There's no escapism.
Yeah.
I think it's escapism for a lot of people, because they're like, here, what else would you do at the weekends? And I'm like,
I don't have time to breathe the weekend. I'm in my kitchen making content.
Great, like, you know, like, but that's the joys of finding something that you love. When you love something, it never feels like work. Nothing feels like a chore. Yeah. You can be as creative as you want. Your imagination and your mind goes everywhere. And I think a lot of people to be lost, and they're like, I don't even like drinking. I don't know why I do it. And I'm like, how do you, like, if for me, the next day, oh my God, I am done with my life for a week. Like, I don't remember the last time I drank. I think the last time I drank was last year. Same thing. Yeah. If that's what you can do and you like to, I know I have a load of moms now that like to have a glass of wine and they enjoy that on a Saturday night. That's fine. But for me, it just slows me down massively, and slowing down is not the pace that I'm going at. And it doesn't, going out on a night out, I actually to be itching to get home, to be like, what am I doing next? Like, because I love working on projects, and I like my downtime to be a switch off with a film and a chill out, and I love early nights, and because I know how good I feel the next day. So I always look at what actually is bringing you benefit, what your surroundings are like, what your environment is. And my nanny always says, show me your company and I'll tell you a lot about yourself.
Well, mine is watching Maths Married at First Sight with Yoga Ball.
Yeah, well, I love that as well.
That's my favourite thing to do, because I feel like that's when my brain can switch off. You don't have to think watching just programmes like that. And I feel like I can literally just completely turn off. That's my favourite thing to do on the week.
And you know what else as well? People were saying, like, they're like, yeah, but like if you want to meet someone and all, like, I'm like, I don't want to meet someone on a night out.
That means they're going to be going on a night out?
That's not where I'm at the minute. And by the way, it's probably a topic that's going to be touched on a lot. Like, anyone, they're probably going to ask me, but obviously I am single at the minute, and I have broke away from Josh, and that's probably something you were probably wondering about as well, were you?
I think I could see the signs, but I think it's nobody's business, do you know, that way. And I feel like your whole page is about you and your girls, and you don't need to tell people anything like that.
That's why for my anything going forward, I share everything of my life online. I'm very honest with everything I do. But I do think you can keep your personal life personal, and no one needs to know anything like that anymore. Because
my personal life has been very personal because it's been non-existent for about 2 years.
I was like, are you in a relationship?
No, mine
not yet.
Mine hasn't existed for a long time.
There's no rush.
Yeah,
don't feel bad.
And
I'm
he's
like,
not going to be in a nightclub
here. Definitely not. You probably meet him at High Rocks. But another thing that we're just touching on there is back to the podcast, community. Like, that's a big thing. Like, having people around you. Like, how important is community to you? Because you know what it's like with my team. It's kind of the same for you. It's the exact same.
So that was the one thing that I felt like I was really, really like missing from being away. And I genuinely I love online coaching, but it's not the same. When you meet those girls in person, when you see the effects they're after having on their life, and when the girls talk amongst themselves, oh my God, like I don't care how much any events cost, I would do them again and again and again and again and again. It is the best feeling in the world. Like I was getting goosebumps. My dad was like, oh my God, I didn't know that that's what coaching was. I think he thought it was a PT.
Yeah.
There's a massive difference between being a PT and a coach. A coach is like being their therapist.
Yeah.
Like
Friends.
it's friends. Yeah. And I feel like having a community is just, it's amazing. I don't like when girls just keep coming and going. I know people aren't going to stay on the plan forever, but like when you actually get to be part of that person's life, like, and watch them grow, and not even just in terms of like their fitness. Like I've seen girls go into different careers and like their confidence is really like boosted and they're just like doing so amazing, and it's so nice to be a part of their journey when it's like that. So community to me at the moment is probably like the best part about my brand, everything. It's so much fun. I'd rather do, like, I even was saying I'm not going to Thailand this summer. I was like, because I actually want to do things with the girls this summer, and I felt like when I'm in Thailand I feel a little bit like disconnected. It's nice to be there. I'm not saying I'm never going to go somewhere like that, go for a week or two, but when you're gone for anything longer than that, I'm like, I don't know what's going on. What's going on?
You feel out of resource really.
I
think community is the heart of everything. It's the beating pulp of a business. It's team. It's not just you. And even working with other people on your team, like my team are everything. Like we're the best of friends, and it's all like it's the thing that keeps everything going. And I think anyone that joins in, I always encourage people, regardless of doing your own thing and you're on your own journey. Yes, everyone is, but join in. Join people that are on the same level and the same frequency and that vibration, and everything changes, you know. There's something that I just wanted to touch on as well near the end here is obviously your dad and Bear. Bear is Lauren's dog, by the way. He's so cute.
His name's actually Caesar, right? But I say Bear all the time.
I call him Bear.
I call him Bear too, but
I'm like, is his name not Bear?
When the
Caesar.
girls came to the house, they kept saying Bear, and he wasn't looking at them because obviously that's not his name. It's Caesar, but yeah, he's my baby.
And how, like, obviously your dad is one of your biggest supporters, and he comes from a business mind. Do you feel like that's why you love living with your dad? Like, because it's so, you have that kind of vibe, like you know what's going on. He knows how to push you. He keeps you on the straight and narrow, and it's inspiring probably, and really nice to work alongside each other nearly.
Yeah, so I think like a big thing for me as well was like going back to school and stuff, and I always really nearly thought like I wasn't good enough. I don't know if it's from having like stutter or where I came from, or I never really felt like I fit in. And I know my dad tried to push me and send me to a private school and do this and do that and do that, and I always just kind of wanted to like do well for like my dad and like nearly say like prove a point, but it's just kind of like to make him proud. Like my mom be happy with me doing that.
This is what I can do, Dad. Yeah,
but my dad, I just really, really, really like wanted to show him. And honestly, when we had the breakfast in my house with the girls, I just looking at my dad's face was just like,
so proud
I
of you.
just felt so happy that my dad's happy. And honestly, I've been away for so many years, like, and I've been back and forth and back and forth. And obviously, me and my dad didn't lived together for years because I lived in my mom's, and now that we both are in this situation where my dad's, well, he kind of is in a relationship, but they don't live together. But I mean, like, we're both at that path, and we're just like the best of friends, and it's so nice. And like, as much as I can move out now, I feel like I'd be very lonely. Like, I work on my own all day long, and it does get lonely. I'd be buzzing for my dad to come in. I'm like, taste this. I'm on his meal prep. I rang him before I came here because he's working. Like, I was like, the one with the rice, I suggest having for dinner, and the one with the leaves, I suggest having for your lunch. And he's like, he has gout at the moment. So he's like, can I eat this? Can I have that? And it's just so nice to be like, I feel like there's so much pressure for us to move out and get a fella and do this and do that. But just do what you want to do. Like, obviously, not saying we don't want to meet anybody here or whatever in the future. But I'm just
put me in that bracket with you then.
But I'm just saying, sometimes it's nice to be home with your family.
It is.
And it is so nice to have that. And like, we have such a good relationship. Like, and it is so nice. And I do appreciate him so much. Like,
yeah, you never get those times back. And when
Yeah.
I come back and I see my nanny and all, I'm like, oh my
Aw.
God. I'm like, this is what I'm missing out on. And then I'm like going for a coffee and having a few extra calories with my nanny. It's not going to be at the end of the world. Like, I'm not going to die. It's memories at the end
Yeah.
of the day. And that was something that I just wanted to say from the outside. I feel like obviously you've been bouncing back and forward over a few years and the travel and kind of a little bit like, Ciara, what am I doing? Where am I at? And anytime we chat, I feel like in the last like 2 years since we've been chatting, your head's screwed on, like you know where you're going with things. You've built an amazing brand. And I think it goes to show how well you and your dad and the relationship is, and it's really nice to see from the outside how close you are and that you're happy where you are. I remember meeting you for a walk and a coffee and you were like, I love living with my dad. I love being there. I've got my own. And I'm like, that is amazing. Like, and I'm so happy for you because I know it's taken a long time to actually find that. And I feel like you're like, I don't need to run away. I don't need to go and find somewhere. You've tried most things and you can go and travel whenever you want. But like, that's your base and that's nearly your best friend.
And that's the one thing I'd say, Ciara. I feel like everybody can look away and places suit different people. You love Dubai. I did love Dubai, but I feel like sometimes home is home, and when you have everything you need, you don't need everything else you keep seeing online, and it's easy to get distracted. And I feel like for me, I'm always like chasing something else. I'm like, what can I do now? What can I do now? And I can honestly say, hand on my heart, I actually love Dublin now. Like I love everything. I know you
agree.
don't.
I'm sorry.
I know it's okay, but but that's what I said. We'll agree to disagree. But like just a simple pleasure.
It's where you fit in, though. It's not about.
Exactly.
So you can see the difference here for anyone as well. Right now, look at the difference of where we both say we fit in. Fitting in isn't the place. It's belonging to yourself and it's belonging to home. And home will always be my house and my mum. Home for me is the people. Home is in Dublin, and I'll never ever settle down here. I know I won't. That's not where I'm going to be. But for you, look at the difference. Home is home. Like, you love it here. Like, you're like, Ciara, I'd never live outside of Dublin again. And I'm like, that's crazy that the mindset shift has changed like that. But home is where you're happiest and home is where family are, I think, as well. And what makes you happy at the end of the day. But coming to the end of the podcast, and I always finish with 2 questions for some guests, and I really hope that people are taking inspiration from this. I hope that you're feeling a little less vulnerable and you're able to open up and say, do you know what, it's actually okay to feel like that. I'm going to text my coach and say what I had. I'm not going to lie anymore. I'm going to be true to myself and I'm going to be transparent, because it always catches up on you. You'll always have a guilty conscience on yourself, and you're only lying to yourself at the end of the day, you know. So always be true to yourself and be honest with yourself in everything that you do. But my first question for you is, what advice would you give to someone right now that's listening off the tip of your tongue, that's struggling with their emotions, maybe going through a breakup and they're just turning to food all the time? Now, I know we have touched on that, but what would your first, say, 3 tips be for someone in that position right now that just keeps turning to the food?
The first thing I would say is you're not alone. There's a lot of people that are going through exactly the same thing. And although you might feel like you are alone, I promise you you're not. And it's more common than what you think. And I would reach out to somebody. If it's not a friend, reach out to somebody random online. I always reply to people, like, I genuinely do. Like, reach out to somebody random online. They could just send you a podcast to listen to, and it could just literally just make your day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The second thing I'd say is food can be there for comforts, okay? But I always say this: the first bite tastes unreal, the second bite tastes the same. And if you eat past that, if you eat past the control, you actually lose the whole enjoyment. So although you might think that this is comforting, if you journal after a binge or after you overeat, you will recognise that there's absolutely no way that that was comforting. Do you know what I mean?
There was guilt all
there was
over,
guilt
and you
all
didn't
over.
enjoy it as much as you thought.
You've made yourself feel 10 times worse.
Okay, yeah. Real.
Yeah.
Anything else? Number 3. One more. Go on.
One more. The last thing I would probably say is do something fun. Like, if you feel like crap, right? If you're feeling a bit low, go and do something fun. And as me and Ciara have said, it doesn't have to involve alcohol. Why don't you go to Penny's, get yourself some fluffy pajamas, or fluffy pajamas, a mask, get yourself a mini bar of chocolate, meet yourself halfway, do you know what I mean? And go home and have a cozy night, or get one of the girls to come over. Like, sometimes you're probably just missing a bit of companionship, or there could be something stressful that happened in work and maybe you are feeling quite anxious and overthinking the situation. I did that, and then as soon as I tell somebody else what I'm thinking, they're like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But you can't control your thoughts, so get them out there and speak to someone and just do something fun. I feel like we miss out on the fun sometimes. You're so like regiments and you keep going with everything each day, and then you might feel very anxious and overwhelmed, and sometimes you just have to step out of your normal routine, break it up, do something fun, and then you'll feel 10 times better and then go back into whatever you were doing before.
Amazing. And that's just something there too. Make a better option. So if you're going to Starbucks and you're like, I don't give a shit, you've got the fucking attitude out, and you go and you look at the menu and you're like, there's 800 calories on that right now. Do you know what? I'm actually going to get myself a nice sugar-free vanilla latte, and I've still got another 300 there, and I'm going to get a nice bar as well. You've doubled yourself, and you're not just going into the fucking attitude.
I give you a really nice Starbucks, a caramel frappuccino, right? But we're mixing it up. So you're going to swap the milk to coconut milk. You're going to swap the caramel to sugar-free. And then you are getting coffee inside it and you're not getting cream. Had that with actually Emma Stevenson when we were in the airport.
I'm going to Starbucks now after this. I'm going to try it.
What is that? It's unreal. And it's low calories. Yeah.
Nice. Lovely. Well, there you go. Everything that you say, like, go for the good option because you always feel better. And then my last question for you is, how important is your environment and your circle and the people that you surround yourself with on a daily basis?
Oh, I think it's so important. Environment is so important. I think we both know that. Like, give you an example. The last time I was in Thailand, I felt like, oh my God, I need to get out of here. I need to explode. Like, I enjoyed the first 2 weeks and then I like extended and I was like, this is great. And then it just got past the point where I was like, you know, when you feel like people are slowing you down a bit sometimes, and I feel like you need to change the environment. You were the same in Bali. Some places are too slow for some people, and some places are too fast paced. Like, Dubai is a distraction for me.
Yeah.
So I
love it. I'm like a rabbit.
My little environment with my dad, and it probably sounds sad when I'm talking like this, but my environment with my dad, my dog, all my nice food, where you don't understand the difference of me just going to Lidl and Aldi and getting my food. Like, honestly, I love food, and food is a big part of me and my brand and everything. And if I don't have access to good food, like being in Thailand throws me off. There'll be people listening to this now and they'll know I was like so frustrated. Other coaches being like, why can't I do what I need to do? And like, me not being able to be me each day throws me off, and my environment plays on that. So as I said, like, I love Dublin. I wish we had sun. I feel like that's the one thing that we're missing. So we can go away for a couple of weeks and stuff. But yeah, environment is everything, and people around you. Don't be afraid to delete people from your life. I have deleted a lot of people from my life, and not in a negative way. Like, I'd still say hi and stuff to them, but like, you don't have to say yes to what all your friends are doing. Some people come to me for coaching and they want to achieve this body and this physique, but yes, their lifestyle doesn't align with that, and everything they're doing on a daily basis doesn't align with that. But if you ask them about their lifestyle, they don't even want to be living that lifestyle. They're only living it because their friends are. So pay attention to who is around you, and if somebody is bringing you down, get rid of them.
Yeah, and that's hard, but it's the best thing ever that you'll do. You have to lose people, and if you're in the same position this time as last year, mentally, maybe physically, or if you're happy physically but mentally, and you're still doing the same shit and you're like still questioning yourself, you need to take a deeper look and get that pen and paper
100%.
out and write stuff down. But thank you so much for coming on. Guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this. It was so nice to come back, and you know, I've been speaking to a lot of people outside Dublin, and it's so nice to see your success, and I hope that you celebrate yourself as much as you celebrate everyone else, because you're an amazing person. You're definitely a friend for life for me, and you are honestly killing it, and I think you're going to inspire and have inspired so many people that are on such a mental battle, and it's such a big thing. So thank you for being vulnerable
so much,
and sharing your
right
stories.
Back at you. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks, guys, and I will see you on the next one.